Feels nice to make something. Like, just something. It just feels good to make something. Because, I don't know. I'm not really sure why it feels good to make something. But it really does. And I get to keep it once I'm done, you know? It's like, it's mine. I made it. It's mine. You, honestly, like, there's not enough of that in this world. Being able to make stuff, and then you look at it and you think to yourself, you know, I made that. Even if it ends up being something that you're not, like, super proud of, you still made it, and it's yours. And no one else has it in the whole wide world. It is completely one of one. And it's special. And then you get to be reminded that, you know what, you're pretty special too. Even if, like, you're pretty much the same as everyone else, in reality, no one has ever lived your life before. And no one actually knows what it means to be you. And then it's like, oh my gosh, like, am I alone in this whole experience? Like, does anyone understand me? If I'm truly special, then how can I relate to anyone? And then you can remind yourself, well, you're special, but also you're like everyone else too. Because everyone's special. And then you're reminded of that, the Incredibles quote where it's like, you know, if everyone's special, then no one is. And in my opinion, true, but also he's wrong. Because everyone's special, which means everyone's special. In that way, maybe no one's special. No one's special by being special, but you're special. And you can't tell anyone, no one can take that away from you. And no one can take your drawings away from you too. I mean, I guess they could technically, but it's like, why would they want them? These are my drawings, you can't have these. And it's like, okay, bro, you can just make more too. And it's, you know, what does it mean to own something is a pretty interesting question. What do we own, really? Because it's not like, you know, if my entire apartment burned down and I lost all my drawings and everything, like, what do I own then? Nothing. I don't know, like, you know, stuff. So there's a lot of stuff that's like outside my control is kind of my point. And like, I think you can derive value from, like, stuff that you own or whatnot, but I think, of course, like, in reality, there's all the good stuff in life, or my favorite stuff at least, has a lot to do with possessing, like, remembering what things you actually can have and what things you don't. And of course, it always boils down to the same thing, right? Which is like, relationships are the best, and friendships, and having a good day, going on a good walk, being present, seeing cool things, and remind yourself, like, oh yeah, like, this is real. This is really real, and it's happening in front of me. And, like, this unique moment is forever mine. And I think that's another important thing that creativity helps me remember is, or drawing especially, is like, these moments are yours. And even though they're fleeting and fast, it's like, okay, so is every other moment, you know? There is no singular moment that will last forever. But having to force yourself to think about making something and making decisions and having fun doing it reminds yourself, like, oh yeah, like, these are my decisions, these are my experiences, these are my day-to-day interactions that I have doing whatever, right? And I get to feel things doing it. And that's a really cool thing. It's a very beautiful privilege to be able to feel something. And if you're thinking, man, like, I don't feel privileged to feel things, I have a lot of bad feelings, I think you should try to dedicate some time to draw. Like, at least, I mean, of course, maybe I'm biased because this is what I like doing. But, I don't know. I think that if you draw, like, just say, for 30 minutes, I'm going to draw. If that's too long, maybe 20 minutes. You know, maybe 10 minutes. Whatever it is, right? It doesn't really matter. But just do it and don't care what comes out of it. And you're like, in the end, you'll find that was fun. It doesn't matter. It actually doesn't matter. You're like, no one's giving you a grade. No one's like looking over your shoulder being like, bro, this isn't meeting your quota. Or like, I don't know, something like that. No one's doing that. It's just you and the paper. And the only question you should ever be asking yourself when it comes to creating things, at least for yourself, right, is like, do I like this? Am I enjoying this? And the answer is no. It's like, all right, put the pen away, go on a walk, do something else. I don't know. Why would you force yourself to do something you hate doing? Like, that sucks. If you can avoid doing that, you should do that. You should avoid it. Just do stuff you love. And then, of course, in life, there are lots of responsibilities and things we have that, like, we may not always love doing it. But there's certain things that you can just save it for the things that you love doing. Drawing is one of those things. You can just save it. Just remember, it's about loving that. You don't need to. It's okay. Don't be stressed out. You know? And of course, you're going to get stressed out sometimes, and that's okay. It's always, you can just keep coming back to it. And stress isn't always a bad thing, too. Like, a certain amount of stress is nice. Gets work done. But I think it's like when you place judgment on yourself. And you start thinking like, man, I haven't made stuff in a long time. Or I haven't made something I really like in a long time. Or this isn't good enough. Or, I'm not good enough because of this. Start thinking those thoughts. That's when it gets hard. And then the more you can catch yourself thinking those thoughts, right? The way I catch myself is that I journal it. I journal what I've been feeling. And the minute you start talking about it out loud, you realize, man, why am I saying this stuff about myself? This is not nice. I always do the friend test, right? Would I tell my friend would I think this about my friend, my best friend? And you're like, no, of course not. Like, that's so wrong. I wouldn't do that. I love my best friend. Like, even if they did something like subpar or like not good enough or whatever, like of course I would forgive them because they're my friend and I love them. Same thing is true with you. You're your friend. You're your best friend. You are your best friend ever. You're the only person that's ever going to be with you for the rest of your life. No one else is ever going to be with you for the rest of your life. Maybe some people are going to be there for a very large part of it, hopefully, right? Some people will be there for longer and shorter and whatever else. But eventually you're going to look back and you're going to think, dang, it was only me there the whole time. And you are your greatest friend, I think. And the more you can remember that, the more you can have fun. And also just appreciate yourself. And realize, like, this is your one shot. But it's not like, I guess that makes it sound like the buzzer is about to beep and you're in fourth quarter and you're down by however many points. You gotta go. It's your last shot. I don't mean like that, like your last shot. Plenty more opportunities. There's always another opportunity until there isn't, right? But who cares? Like, it's like saying there's always I don't know, another, I don't know what a good analogy is for that. I don't know, it's like saying, what is it like saying? I guess like all things end, But it's also like everything must begin too. So why focus on just the beginning or just the ending? It is good to acknowledge it, right? When it happens, right? People die. People are born. Firsts are always happening in our life, and we need to acknowledge them. They're true. When they come and pass, it's true. And that's why we have funerals and weddings and birthdays. Because it's an acknowledgement of reality, right? It's like, hey, we don't know a whole lot what's going on here, I mean, we know a lot of different things, but fundamentally why we're here, but I do know another year has passed and you're still alive, so let's celebrate. I do know that both of you guys are dedicated to be together for the rest of your life. Let's celebrate. I do know that this person lived a whole life and they died. And now it's over. Their whole story has been told. And let's celebrate that story. Let's remember that. Because it's real. And in my mind, like, the more that you can remind yourself what's real, the more that you can flow with it. Because it's not fair to say, like, it's all pain, it's all suffering. It's not all pain, it's not all suffering. It's not all loss. There's a lot of gain, too. But it's not all gain. There's a lot of loss. A lot of sorrow and sadness. Right? A lot of hard things in life. A lot of really hard things. But, that doesn't mean that it's all that. It doesn't mean it's all sad or bad. And I think stuff that ends up kind of feeling foolish, in my opinion, is stuff that is too focused on one or the other. Imbalanced, right? An imbalanced life or train of thought. Because in the end, like, you're missing some part of reality if you're not living balanced. You're missing something, right? It's all good. It's all love. It's all happiness. No pain, no sorrow. You're missing it. You're missing out on a lot of a lot of processing of hard things. And the same is true the other way, right? Like, it's all good. It's all good. It's all love. Oh, wait. What did I say? Did I say the opposite? It's all bad. So, yeah. That's not true either, right? It's not all bad. There's a lot of bad. There's a lot of good. And it's all just kind of happening. And right now, I exist in a place in the world where, fortunately, my country is, I'd say it's hurting right now. And definitely the cause of a lot of other people's hurt, too. And I don't know what to do about it. I feel kind of powerless to do anything, to be honest. But I do know that right now I'm safe. I have had food today. I have a bed to sleep in. I've had water, ample water. Even had coffee, right? I love coffee. I've had luxuries. Hot water for my shower. That's crazy. And, like, I have all these things. I'm a rich person to have all these things. Refrigerator. So thankful. And I think a really big aspect to what it means to be grateful, right? A lot of, like what I just said earlier, like realizing that I'm in a place that's, my country hurts people a lot, and I feel as though it hurts me to realize that there's so much pain in the world that's happening. And then at the same time, I have to realize that there's an immediate reality around me, right? The reality of my body, the reality of my resources, the reality of my mind. And I have a love of creating, and I have to remind myself, this is what I have to offer the world. Even if it's not tangible, right? Like resources, I'm not changing someone's reality as far as like stopping something really bad from happening, right? Which I think I have something in my heart that wants to maybe help people in that way. I really feel like I want to do something. And then I'm always just called back to draw. And I'm realizing, if I can help myself by drawing, like get all my resources I need to live by doing this, then I think I'm helping a lot of people, because I'm gonna make a big body of work. I can put all of my thoughts into the world, and I think me being able to do this in my life makes me think really good thoughts, which is a little weird to say, like that's valuable for someone else, but like I don't know. I think it is good to hear someone experiencing a healthy, happy life, and to share, I guess, the thoughts and experiences that are coming out of that health and happiness, right? Because I've definitely been in places where I haven't had that, haven't been healthy, haven't been happy. And a lot of times it was Bob Ross or some other guy, right, on the internet or whatever, that was just doing what they do because they love it. And I would listen to them, and they comforted me in times when I needed to hear it. And that's another thing I've been thinking about a lot recently, right? Which is just like this idea that words are a lot more powerful than we give them credit for. They're a lot more powerful. What we say makes someone think something. It makes us think something too, which is really crazy. Like, yeah, it's just abstract, right? It's not the real thing. Like I say water, you know what I'm talking about, but that's just vibrations, man. It's not the real thing. There's not a cup of water being poured over your head every time I say water. But at the same time, there kind of is a cup of water being poured over your head every time I say water. Because you think water, 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 water. And I just said water a bunch of times, and you know what I'm talking about. You know, elephant in the room, whatever. You know, you get the idea. Point being, right, what we say changes the emotional reality of other people's consciousness. And that's just not some hippy dippy bullshit. That's real. It's real. You know, it's I say stuff, makes you think things, and it affects the way you feel about either those things or things about those things or whatever. And it would be foolish of me to say that doesn't have any significant impact. So whenever I feel full of self-doubt and I question my purpose, I remind myself why I'm doing this is doing this for other people, so I can show them how much I love it. And if I can show them how much I love it, they might realize they can do stuff that they love too. Maybe not for their career or their money, but you know what? Time set apart to do stuff that you love or be with people you love. That is the sauce. That is the sauce of life. And I love it. I love it so much. And I'm never going to stop doing it. And I love it. And I love sharing it with people. And I love talking to people about it. And I love having conversations about it. And I love doing it with other people. I love stories. I love storytelling. Like, what is this guy doing, you know? I keep thinking he's going to war, but he doesn't want to. I imagine his brother died for some reason. His brother died. His brother was younger than him, and I think he was getting caught up in the propaganda of the war, you know? And he was always telling him, don't believe in that bullshit they tell you about, you know, the enemy and whatnot. But something happens to where his brother dies, and he feels as though he has to go to war. I don't know why. I would have to figure out a more compelling reason or narrative as to why exactly. Like, he would go because of his brother's death. Like, was it the enemy, supposed enemy that killed him, right? Or something like that, maybe. I don't know. Maybe he's going to find someone, right? Like, maybe it's someone even on his own front lines. I don't know. But I do love drawing. It's quite nice.